I'm texting all the way out of the down the road for 30 miles. I'm texting, telling everybody why I ran away and left them. You know, I will be back, I'll be back. I was involved in listening to a conversation. Victoria was sleeping on Ryan's shoulder. I was listening to Ryan Payne and Lavoy Finicum, who were in the front seat, talking man talk. You know, things like shaving your bald head and things like that. I was listening because, and I was trying to call my friend who lived in John Day. For 3 weeks I had told her I was coming to see her, and I never made it. So I said, go to the senior center. They're going to have this awesome concert, and I'm going to be there. Well, then immediately I have no cell service. And right after that, Ryan Payne says, it's a setup. Or Lavoy said it's a setup. Ryan Payne turns and he looks, and we see this whole string of unmarked vehicles and trailers, and unmarked vehicles was a little scary for me because this is what we had seen in Bunkerville at the Bundy Ranch. Lavoy said it's an ambush.
Wow.
No, Ryan said it was an ambush. And so we kept going down the road, but we watched those vehicles. They pulled around behind, and we had the Jeep close behind us. And Lavoy looks in the rearview mirror and he said, why are they slowing down? Because we could see these cars coming out from behind that side road, snowy road, and we were a little bit worried about why the Jeep was stopping. We needed to get to John Day. We needed to get to a safety place. We needed to get to the sheriff. And as they came up around, that Jeep just stopped, pulled off the side of the road, and Lavoy wasn't going to stop. And suddenly, Ryan Payne says, you got to stop, because they were coming upon us. And really reluctantly, Lavoy stops in the middle of the road, and his leg is bouncing up and down on the brake. I can see it, and he's nervous. And he's saying, no, we got to go, we got to go, we got to go. As soon as we stop that car, Ryan Payne rolls down the window and puts his hands out. Victoria's up by now. She's awake. We can see this red laser. Cling, and I hear the bullet hit. Ryan Payne recoils back into the truck. Are you shot? He said no. But immediately he starts arguing with Lavoy. Lavoy's going, well, I'm getting it. We're going to the sheriff. I'm going to the sheriff. Ryan does a very strange things, and when they're arguing back and forth, because he thinks, he knows that these guys can outrun us. It's an icy road. And he immediately goes into survival mode. He jumps out because he wants to protect us. He throws his hands into the air and he screams back at the people behind us, and he says, there's women in the vehicle. And they yell something to him, and he says, they said, get out. Are you kidding? I look at Victoria, and her eyes are like saucers, and she says, I'm not getting out. They're shooting at us. I said, I'm not getting out either, and I'm not leaving her. So they take Ryan into custody. They make him walk backwards, and anyway, and then I can't see him. Ryan Bundy says, what do we do? I said, we get out our very best weapons. And I reach to the floor, and I pick up my camera. Do you know what happened at the Bundy Ranch? We had cameras. We had our very best weapons. Do you know a picture's worth 1,000 words? We learned that because that's what backed off the BLM when we were down in Nevada. We had all that evidence because we had everybody with cameras and voices and we can speak. And I turned that camera on. And I made sure that that record button was on. And I held it up because I'm kind of short and I can't see. I'm holding up this camera. When I get to, Ryan turns on his cell phone. And then you'll hear me, and you've probably, how many of you already seen my video? The whole world saw my video, right? You probably saw it before I ever saw it. I was in jail. When I got out of that truck, and I'm not going to go through the whole deal about the video, okay? But they fired on us before that camera was ever brought forward. When we get down to the end of the road, and we're stuck in the snow, and I have to turn that camera off, then it's time that I have to get out of the vehicle. Now, in the video, it shows that I'm trying to get Victoria out first. Now look, I'm not throwing her to the wolves. That's not what that plan was. My plan was, they aren't going to shoot her. I already knew that they were trying to kill Ryan Bundy. Lavoy and I knew that they wanted to take them out. And that first shot came through the back, not to Lavoy. And he was trying to protect him. And that's why he jumped out of that vehicle. And he leapt into the snow. I have a camera up here. I can't see the screen, but I can see with my eyes. And those pictures are burned in my brain. The things that are happening. And lasers are everywhere in that vehicle. And I know at any second we're going to get shot. And the bullets are bouncing off the window by my head. And it didn't break. 5 times.
Hallelujah.
We are praying our hearts out. Because we know the only way we'll be protected is by God. Why were they shooting at us for 12 minutes? Even after they killed Lavoy, they continued to shoot at us. Does that make sense? They weren't there. They were there. We weren't supposed to be there. I don't even believe they knew that we were there. Because it was a last-second thing. This was a kill zone.
Yeah.
I went out of that truck. And as I hit the ground, I had this broken foot. Because of this book. The Lord told me to write it and I didn't do it fast enough. So, I was trying to go through the tracks in the snow because it was too hard for me to bend my foot. And that tire was just spinning, and I could see it already had spun a big block of ice underneath that truck. And as I got out and I looked up, I saw the truck was still running. I knew it was a stick shift because he didn't even have time to take it out of gear. I looked over and I see Lavoy laying in the snow. And I know he's dead. And he's looking, he's facing me, and I'm looking for blood and wounds, and I see nothing. But I look up past him, and there's all these trees. And out of these trees step men in camouflage with long rifles. They step to the left. I think I'm in a war zone. And I say, you have just killed an innocent man. And you will be held accountable, every one of you. As we walk to the top of that hill, Victoria is in cuffs and zip ties. When I get to the top, they put cuffs on me. At that moment, as I was walking up, they had asked me 5 times, who else is in the vehicle? Nobody. Nobody else is in the vehicle. Nobody. I'm the last one. When I got to the top of that hill and they put the cuffs on me, they opened fire on that truck and blew all the windows out, the rest of them. It made no sense to me. I don't understand. So after we're there for 2.5 hours singing songs, trying to keep her from going into shock, those types of things, they finally take us, put us in a van, and they take us down to where the other men are. We sit there for 3 more hours. 9:30 at night before we leave. I'm telling you that God was protecting us. But I know one thing for sure. They did not know. They did not have a warrant. They did not know that we were going to be there. And that's why they held us so long. They had already shot Ryan in the shoulder. And only because of God has led us to these trials. It is because He has to show His hand. Lavoy gave his life to defend us. And he knew that what he was doing was right. He had made that conscious decision that he needed to stand and protect the Constitution, defend the Constitution, preach the Constitution, and protect these young men who had children. He said that. These are young men who have children. I have to defend them. We're older. Our children are grown. He is one of many heroes. We have a lot of heroes. And it's amazing to me that for 26 days he taught America. And the whole world listened to a cowboy who had learned a lesson from his hero, Cliven Bundy. I just want you to know, and I'm going to wrap it up because I want you to be able to hear Cliven. We won in a court because Ryan and I knew that the Lord told us that we needed to represent ourselves. The lawyers are liars. Okay?
Amen.
They blocked us. They blocked us. They did everything to stop us. And we didn't let them. Because we knew that the Lord was behind us. And they got so angry at me sometimes that I actually had my co-counsel scream at me in the courtroom and said, "You're going to screw this whole thing up." And I said, "Yes, I am." We have to do whatever it takes. The Lord had told me we weren't going to jail, and I knew it. So it didn't matter what I did. It did. We worked hard. We worked very hard. We had people like Roger Roots. We had people who dedicated their time and their energies and their talents who showed up. We had people that showed up with media. Look, we had people who were like Andrea. All these, and John Lamb, whose hearts were good. They came and they stepped forward and they didn't get paid. They came because they knew they were supposed to be there. Are you listening to the Spirit to tell you what you're supposed to be doing? You have to stand up. That was the word. We have to stand. So together we stand. We do whatever it takes. So you do whatever it takes. Thanks.